And in the door. Okay, this is another episode of Gun Channel Show Lock and Load. And basically, the first thing I wanted to talk about on tonight's show is that apparently, for some reason, this photograph upsets Google. I fail to understand why. But a 1919 patriotic song called that I uploaded in 2013 called "Tell That to the Marines" has been monetized for 4 years, and they finally, after I can only assume it has something to do with anti-gun hysteria, that they've decided to demonetize and take this out of all their search results on Google. So it's a historic picture of the Marines on Iwo Jima on a volcanic mountain called Suribachi, victorious at the top with the American flag and holding their guns up high in the air and just being happy. I think that they made it to the top alive, and I just can't see how this could possibly be advertiser unfriendly or offend anyone. I mean, we're peace with Japanese. So they all did a landing together. I think we talked about it on the anniversary of Iwo when they're our friends now. And the Marines, I forgot what division it was that landed, but they landed with the Japanese self-defense forces on Iwo Jima just last anniversary of the battle. And they seem to get along just fine. So I don't see who could have possibly been offended. And I mean, what is wrong with this picture that would, as a thumbnail, that would offend anyone? And why would they ban it? Why would they want to? I mean, they have guns, but like Squibb said, they weren't. They had to. It was a war. They couldn't just go out and hand out free jelly beans and take that mountain as an airstrip for
the record. Anything about jelly beans?
Yeah, I just make that up, but Ronald Reagan liked jelly beans is all. But I don't understand. Does Google have absolutely no? Are they just anti-American or something? Or is this is the whole thing is this related to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee in the whole NFL? Is this something against the American flag now or something that I don't? What is wrong with Google?
Well, first, by Google, you're talking about a computer. They have algorithms that look at these pictures, and as they're looking at this picture, and this picture is similar, since it's a classic. I've seen this picture 100 times. So it's a classic picture, and they're comparing it to statues that are being took down right now, and that algorithm is saying that this is the same as statues that we are removing.
They're looking at it like it's a war statue. You guys know what that is a picture of, right?
I know what it's a picture of.
Okay, tell me specifically what it is a picture of.
Of the Marines on the top of Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima, after having raised the flag taken by Joe Rosenthal.
No, it isn't the Rosenthal.
Famous history better.
Not the Rosenthal picture. That's the flag they put up first. They took it down.
Oh, okay, right. So that's the one of by the photographer that was the combat photographer that was killed in the battle. The other photographer. Yeah, I know that story. I saw. I can't remember his name. I apologize. I should have. But I did see.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain that's the second one. I don't think that's the first. I'm sorry, not the second one. I'm fairly certain that's the first one, not the second one. I could be wrong. Any Marines out there want to correct me, please do. But I'm pretty sure that's the first one. That's not the only picture they took. They did one where they were posing. You'll see a guy in the foreground with an M1 carbine squatted, facing outward, and that one's also out there. But I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. Anyhow, regardless. The picture that was taken at Rosenthal is the most reproduced image in history, not in the United States, in history. So for somebody to say that's advertiser unfriendly, or because it now we're gonna try to erase the history of World War II, the one we won, the popular war. No, I'm gonna buy that. But now if you're saying it's because the computer's stupid, sure.
I think it's the whole. I think it's Google's corporate ethos. I mean, is it? I mean, is this have something to do with the American flag and Colin Kaepernick or something, or guns, or what? I mean, what is wrong with this picture?
Well, like I said, you have to decide if this is the computer making this decision or a person.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a person because they demonetized a bunch of lock and loads. I think what happened is they went through a bunch of my weekly Monday shows called Lock and Load, and then they demonetized a bunch of them, and then they saw a picture, looked at my channel, saw a picture of a bunch of guys with guns, and demonetized that one.
Hold up a second. You know Travis P11, right?
I've heard of him, and he's on gun channels, yeah.
He's a really good guy. He doesn't swear on his shows at all to talk politics. He doesn't necessarily talk about gun rights. He reviews a lot more than just guns. He reviews tools and cars, and that's things people tease him about is he'll write a review about dang near anything. He does primarily guns, but he keeps the language clean. He doesn't turn anything into anything that would be flagged by any of their normal stuff. He's not sponsored by anybody. He's not promoting. He promotes the local gun store. That's about it. He has dodged this demonetization for the longest time. They just got him this week. So maybe you've been dodging bullets like him, and finally it's not just you. But I mean, before people were saying, oh, they're dinging my show because I'm talking politics. Oh, they're dinging my show because I said the F word. Whatever it is.
This isn't a show. It's a 1919 song called Tell That to the Marines.
Well,
it's a picture of the Marines on Iwo Jima.
He doesn't do anything offensive in his videos and his reviews and his show. This wasn't offensive. You guys both got dinged in the same week. So maybe Dusty's got a point. It's computer, but it's a liberal.
It's a liberal computer. It's a left-wing computer.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, you guys really don't think that Google hires somebody that sits and watches videos all day, do you?
Yeah.
They would have rooms full of people. Think about it. If you were watching a video about something you didn't know anything about, how could you make it?
They're a bunch of condescending left-wing drug abusing Silicon Valley elitists. They don't need to know anything to make a judgment.
Now, wait a minute. You're in California too, but.
Well, I got out of there, and I'm trying to get my folks to move out too.
Well, okay. So, look. Anyhow, I'm saying that they're dinging everybody, and what I've heard, I haven't done this, but that they're dinging everything, not just gun stuff. They're dinging the video game reviews, which are really big. My kids watch this stuff on YouTube. I should have if any of these guys have put out videos whining about being demonetized or whatnot. The thing about that is, if you ask G-Webs, he says it's their platform, it's their rules. He has a point. It is. You don't pay anything.
They're
to put your videos.
Utility. They're a public utility. And
no, they're not. They're a private entity.
They're private, so they.
As far as I'm concerned, Google should be nationalized. Or if California secedes from the union, then they'd be a foreign. There'd be an anti. They should be arrested for sedition for taking this video down. As far as I'm concerned.
What I'm hearing though from people who had their stuff pulled, like when Hickok had his stuff pulled, or when people say their stuff's been demonetized or they've been temporarily blocked, banned, because somebody made a complaint or whatever it is that YouTube isn't transparent about what is acceptable and what isn't. YouTube uses these algorithms to search stuff, and they're dumb algorithms, so they'll find anything. If I say the lines out of a movie right now, they might hit you because they say copyright infringement, even though all I was doing was speaking.
This didn't get a copyright strike. It was offensive to advertiser unfriendly, offensive. It was deemed.
Got different ways of taking your money. They've got different ways of shutting you down. They've got different ways of penalizing you. They've got different, because they have a system that lets somebody complain easily, but doesn't let somebody defend themselves easily. They have a system that is more automated than has people looking into stuff. Unless you're a big channel like Yankee Marshall or Hickok 45, you don't even have somebody at YouTube you can call. They have somebody, they can pick up the phone and Joe at YouTube, and Joe will be like, I'm sorry, we'll put your stuff back on. Well, they got 1.5 million viewers or whatever it is. You don't have 1.5 million, so you don't have and hope that they send you an email back. This is what I'm hearing from people that have been talking about this for months. So I think
about the big picture. Why, if they ding this video for a couple weeks and they save pennies, for them is big bucks. If they ding, if they ding 1 million videos just like yours for a couple weeks and they get 1 million pennies back, they just made a pile of money.
Well, I think they're a bunch of condescending, unpatriotic, traitorous dogs, left-wing elitists, and then most of them probably, from what I've heard, there's a lot of drug dealers who cater to people that work at all these kinds of companies in Silicon Valley. So.
But as far as being public, Google is not public. That is a private traded company.
I don't,
they're traded on the stock exchange. They're one of the biggest.
Yeah, and their objective is to make money. So
big company though. Look, here's the thing. Google should have notified everybody. They should have put out these videos weeks in advance or something, or have instead of running a commercial for a laxative before your show, they should run a YouTube commercial saying we're YouTube and this is why we're doing it. We're doing it because people.
There was a commercial for a laxative before my show.
I was using that as a brush. I don't know. There could have been a commercial for a hand lotion. I don't know. Whatever. The whole point is that Google, YouTube should be putting out something to all of these content creators, whether it be an email to everybody, whether it be ads on their own site, whatever it is, to say we're demonetizing, and we're demonetizing because advertisers are pulling out. We used to have a butt ton of advertisers. Now we don't. We're working on it, but in the meantime, there ain't enough money to go around, folks. Then they could.
Are you kidding me? Google is one of the most highly capitalized companies on the planet. And speaking of being demonetized, if you like that video or you watch Lock and Load, we take Bitcoin. The address is in the. You want to make a donation in Bitcoin. This is the I'm Nobody cartoon that I saw that I liked a lot. I'm not trying to defend YouTube per se. I'm saying that the people that are mad that they're getting blocked, banned, suspended, or demonetized have every right to be upset. And I think YouTube's not handling it as professionally as they could, considering their resources. But what I've been told was they don't have as many advertisers, so they're cutting back. They're also catching a lot of flack over certain kinds of videos, and the complaints are coming in. Yeah, but what's wrong with the kind of video they took down? I object to that. I don't object to them not paying me. I object to them then taking tell that to the Marines out of the search engine, because some people like the Marines, and if they want to see a patriotic video about the Marines, and that's why I made it. I didn't make it to make money. It's really because I wanted to say thank you to the Marines because of what they've done. And that's the only reason that it's really up. And so when it's not in the search engine, so people can't type Marines and see this video, then there's just something wrong with that. Anyway.
Well, that's because you have personal feelings involved. And Google has
American
money. I mean, they don't care about your personal. They want to make money.
I'm an American. There's nothing personal about it.
Where you're going right now? Why don't you just yell out "shall not be infringed"? make you feel better.
We haven't brought up guns at all. We're talking about taking down patriotic video from a song from 1919 about the Marines.
Did I just hear
I
Smiggy?
don't. No, no. So I think there's anything wrong with your video. There's nothing. I'm just saying what the things that I've been hearing over the past few months from YouTubers. That's what I'm throwing out there to try to explain why they did it. I'm really trying to defend YouTube. Like I said, not handling this as well as they could. It's not just you. If you'd watch other people's shit, you'd know that.
Well, are you accusing me of not watching enough YouTube videos?
Oh, no. I'm just throwing stuff out there now.
Right. Speaking of which,
Did you watch today, Hawaii?
I didn't watch one video because we had shots fired in my complex. And before we get on to that, I just wanted to say what you were talking about before. Here's something else that's going on that I don't like. Or it's just wrong. Apparently, in spite of the fact that Dianne Feinstein is running for re-election and a lot of people like that, Republicans have pretty much put the NRA, because of the whole bump stock thing and some bills that they don't like, they put the NRA and each other and put the NRA in the center, and they formed a circular firing squad around it. And look at you two. You guys are arguing over bills and stuff, and it's like your NRA is in the middle, and then you guys are shooting at each other. It's like, yeah, we don't need a circular firing squad. You're doing Dianne Feinstein's work for her. I mean, nobody can destroy the NRA except all the Republicans. So that you're doing their work for them. It's like, I don't agree with what the NRA is doing. I don't like a lot of the bills that have been proposed. I don't think anything should be. I don't think bump stocks should be banned because it's stupid. All you need is a belt loop to bump fire a rifle. It's like it's ineffective, and it's a crappy stock anyway. But it shouldn't be banned. But it's like what should be banned is circular firing squads where the NRA calls me up and wants money so they could try and win a race, have money to spend on that Alabama race where 2 Republicans were running in the primary. It's like, screw the Republican primaries. It's just what you need is to save your money for is to try and get Dianne Feinstein out and people like that. I mean, good luck. She's running against somebody who's even more liberal than she is more a left-wing radical. But I bet there isn't one Republican running against her for her Senate seat. And because nobody wants to spend money on that stuff, they're a bit too busy in their circular firing squad position. So I don't think like the people at Guns Channel just should put their NRA cards and I don't think whether I agree with the NRA or prefer the GOA. I mean, I'm a member of GOA, NRA, Florida Carry, and I just don't think Republicans should form a circular firing squad.
All right, quiet. I'm going to tell you a story. Videos I watch is a video called One Lonely Farmer, believe it or not. But he's a guy in Wisconsin, or he's in New Jersey. He bales hay every day. I made a comment on one of his videos, and since my avatar is my car, off him making another video the next day on guns. I'm sure that somewhere along the line, since I posted a comment on his video about farming with my cart as an avatar, I kicked off Google on his video. But, you know, he is a pro-gun guy, but he made a video saying and trying to explain that he was not trying to advocate guns, but somebody on his video made a comment that was a gun advocate.
So if this was my avatar, Google would demonetize everything I do, right?
Well, that's been my experience this week. Which scares me, but like I said, I watch this guy's videos. I've watched his videos for years. He bales hay in New Jersey. He's a very good farmer, and I like his farming videos. Avatar is a gun, caused him problems.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is not being fair about this at all. They're not.
Well, I'm not monetizing this video, so
But
I can show this picture, I guess. Uh, anyway, so whatever.
oh, so wait a minute. So we're shooting at each other?
All the Republicans have a circular firing squad, and they're fighting each other instead of the Democrats. Well, you and Squib were, you're Squib and you're Dusty, and you were. My understanding was you were yelling at each other over the bump stock bills or some other bills that you had said you had read. So if you want to argue about them some more in a form of a circular firing squad, it sounds to me like why aren't we going after Dianne Feinstein? But go ahead. What are these bills?
Well, Saturday night, Squib and I was a little upset with each other. I will admit that. He probably doesn't know because I will not tell somebody when I don't. But yes, I did not agree with him Saturday night.
All right. Was there a show on Saturday night that you guys were on that I missed or something? Or
no, we was just texting back and forth on our phone.
Okay.
Oh, that.
Yeah. But your comments upsetted me Saturday night.
Oh, well, that's why I didn't know. Well, why didn't you send me a go F yourself?
Because that's not me, Squib.
Okay, so there was a shooting today.
Not my personality.
There was a shooting in my condo complex. I mean, by shooting, I meant that the guy, nobody was shot, but the guy who had previously threatened to burn the place down, who had broken three or four windows, has allegedly shot out two of his front windows now. And there was basically I heard a bunch of yelling and screaming, and you don't know who you're effing with, and then somebody, there was sounded like a lot of fighting, and then I heard somebody say hands up, and then everything got quiet. So I moseyed on down with my Mai Tai to the hot tub and pool area, and there was like 8 cop cars, and basically the problem was the guy's wife left him and has bailed on him, and they own the condo together, and she's still in Vegas, so having a good time. and so he's been upset, and I guess there was more cops than I've ever seen around here, and yellow police line, do not cross tape, and just a ton of cop cars. And basically the 2 guys were cuffed, and I don't know why. You have to be crazy for him and his brother to start a fight with 8 cops. and so I just went to the pool and pretty much ignored it because it was quieter by the pool than in my building. So.
Well, okay, that's understandable, but I want to tell Squib why I was upset with him Saturday night, okay?
Okay.
So basically, I had sent him of the bill that a Republican from Florida had introduced. And I got the impression that he just kind of was throwing it away to the wayside. That was a big bill because Republican willing to pass a bill banning bump stocks, which is okay. I have no problems with banning bump stocks, but I had a problem with the wording of the bill. The way that bill was worded, eliminate every semi-automatic that we ever had. And that's where, he came back and he just said he wasn't really concerned about it. And that kind of pissed me off.
Yeah,
it's your turn, Squib.
Look, we're not always going to agree, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. And if we were in lockstep with everything, I'd question our. I mean, this is America, right? I mean, we're all the same but different. So we're not always going to agree. My thing is, if you ever want to talk to me about something, even if it just, I don't know, just talk to me about it. If you're upset and you're like, maybe I shouldn't because right now I'm steamed, That's fine too. And if I get it, this is for anybody on gun channels. If you're that mad at me, tell me to go F myself. If the next day you're like, hey man, I was just pissed. Okay, I'm cool. I'm fine. I don't, you know, we all get like that. You give me a good night's sleep or some time to think something over, I might change my mind. So my thing is, I took a look at the bill. It's a short bill. It could be misinterpreted to nth degree to mean more than what it is, but it's very simply written. It's not a good bill, but it's, when I looked at it, I'm like, this isn't going to pass because it's not specific enough, for one thing. And I just think that they're just posturing again. I'm not saying that they're not going to try to pass stuff. Of course they're always trying to pass stuff. And after an incident, I don't even like calling it an incident. I don't know what else to say. After something happens, it's tragic. They try to pass stuff. They use the knee-jerk reaction and public opinion and people's emotions against all of us, and they try to put this stuff in there. Look at all the stuff that happened after Sandy Hook. And you know, look at all the stuff that was going on after Orlando. I'm not saying that that every time they're going to try and they're going to fail. No, every time they try, and sometimes they're going to succeed. I just looked at it, and the wording didn't really. It just didn't.
It didn't what?
I don't know.
You're cutting out. It didn't what?
I wanted it to pass at all. This is just something they're introducing. It still has to get to the House floor, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's got so much to go through. They can't even get freaking healthcare right, for Pete's sakes. So, yeah.
Well, basically, Trump has demonetized Obamacare. As far as I can tell, he isn't paying the unconstitutional payments to the states. And if he doesn't give the money to the states can't pay the insurance companies can't do anything without the federal money. So, I mean, that's how I got my retirement health care when I had to stay for a month at the retirement center on Oahu. My healthcare company wasn't going to pay me until I went through the appeal process, and the last health appeal was to the state health board, and they didn't want to have to go before that board. They just gave me the money to cover my 1 month at the retirement center because they didn't want to get dinged by the state health board, because the insurance companies need all that money, and so they have to. The state can push them around, but if they don't have any leverage over the healthcare company, so yeah, I don't know how to fix healthcare. It's beyond me. But I don't know.
But Squib's attitude is what's scaring me right now. I mean, he's getting kind of complacent. He's willing to accept that we're going to fight everything and it's not going to pass. I don't agree with that. I think even though it seems stupid to fight, that we should be fighting everything tooth and nail.
Okay, I don't think the listeners will know exactly what bill you're talking about.
What I'm talking about is you can fight all you want. You don't always win. That doesn't mean you should never fight. But I also think that there's something to be said about attempting to take the high ground. And I think there's something to be said about resources. If you've got 5 bills in front of you that some are pro-gun and some are anti-gun, and you don't have the resources to fight the anti-gun and push the pro-gun, you have to decide, what are you going to put your resources in, and what are you not going to put where are you going to take your losses? Now, the people that seem to think we can fight every anti-gun bill and push every pro-gun bill, well, I guess they got more resources than I do. But I've got so much to deal with. And this. I am not rolling over. And look, I looked at some of these newer bills. Okay, that one that came out, it just didn't impress me.
Yeah,
Some other ones, and these I read them. I did my research. They're a little bit more. How should I put it? They affect everybody. They don't just affect.
I got to see if I can find the bill from the senator in Florida.
Okay, so while you doing that, I just wanted to let everybody know that we are starting the show earlier.
Yes, we should talk about that too.
Because it's 2 p.m. in Hawaii when we started the show, more or less, give or take a few minutes, and because basically, my friends here in Michigan were falling asleep at way past midnight, and they had to work. They have to go to work tomorrow. So,
One was Dusty.
well,
Dusty, take a look. See these? There's my piece off.
Yeah.
well, you're giving them brass.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, now that you guys are all made up.
Wood. Did you read about the deal that I seen on a 450 today or last weekend?
No,
Yeah.
That would have been a great gun for your son.
A 450?
Yeah. It was the Ruger American 450.
Right. Yeah.
Which-
No, that was. Yeah, the price you sent me was a good price.
Yeah.
But-
That's why I couldn't
No, it
let
wouldn't
it
have
go. I had no
No,
need
because-
for that gun, but I bought it.
My kids.
I bought it for my
will
nephew.
My kids will eat through so much ammo. I mean, I like taking them to the range, but damn, they cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, but I have dies for that. I can load that. I can load that shell, Squib.
Okay. Did anybody see The Foreigner besides me?
No,
So
nobody
far-
cares. Peace.
It was Jackie Chan filming it. It had some interesting combat in it. It wasn't like your normal Jackie Chan comedy, action comedy like Rush Hour at all. It was a serious. Jackie Chan says he's a 65-year-old man and he wants to be an actor now. So it was acting, but there was a lot of stunts and fighting, and he said it wasn't martial arts; it was more ultimate fighting, and so he tried to be. I think the fighting was realistic throughout it, but I guess nobody wanted to see it but me. So, but it was really good. I liked it. He had there's a bunch of interesting guns in there. Let's see if I could screen share some of the guns real quick. I had them up on Edge's show. The firearms movie database always switches to advertisements every few minutes, which is kind of annoying, but just wanted to show a few pictures from the movie on firearms database. So there's Pierce Brosnan with a USP. He plays an Irish politician who's used to be an IRA person, and here's a Silence Makarov that one of the characters has and uses to shoot somebody with. Jackie Chan is shooting in. He gets. I don't know where they found one in Britain, but I've never even heard of one. The AR-18 with the stupid.
Yeah, AR invented in the late 70s. It's like an AR-15 kind of sorta 5.56. It's got a side charging handle. It's got front handguards. It's got a flash suppressor. The stock pistol grip.
And here it is. If you can see this stuff.
Yeah, see that the handle folds if you want it to. But yeah, the civilian model would be the AR-180, and they've been made by a few different companies. Armalite in America, I think. I can't remember what company was making them in Japan, and then after that, the Armalite today, which is not the same company from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, was making one with a plastic lower receiver. It was a clone, but they were offering replacement parts for the originals, and I think eventually they stopped making those.
Yeah, so this is Jackie Chan with some kind of suppressor of some type, custom, and it was full auto in the movie. but he goes to he has to he does more hand fighting than anything with guns, and I really liked this movie. It wasn't stupid fighting. It was realistic fighting, and it was basically the story plot is there's a bombing in London. His daughter is killed. The IRA was trying to target a banking system because for some reason they're upset. A rogue IRA unit did it, and Jackie Chan is just a retired special forces guy who's running a restaurant, and in his old age, his daughter is killed, and he wants to get some help from the police, and they can't help him because they don't know who did it. And so he goes to the first Irish minister and asks him and for the names of the people that killed his daughter. And he won't take no for an answer from this guy. So he basically wants the names from Pierce Brosnan's character, which is and it was pretty good film. I enjoyed it. Okay, I'm hearing some feedback from the beginning of the show. Anyway, so that was that.
That's me. I'm trying to kill Windows.
Kill Windows?
Don't kill itself.
What's that? All right.
I only have one window open now. There should be no feedback.
All right. Stan is going back to reloading, though he was listening to our show for a while. Yeah, we tried to fix everything. We try and cover it all really quickly in the first few minutes. So I wasn't involved in any other fun it was strictly the police and the crazy guy downstairs. It's about, I don't know who would take on. You have to be stupid to try and pick a fight with 8 cops. I mean, if 8 cops knock on your door, just give them whatever they want, because you aren't going to win that fight. And they didn't, so they're in jail, and hopefully he will stop shooting through windows because he's out of windows. They've all been busted or shot through, so they're out of glass to shoot through unless he's going to start shooting out other people's windows. So far, he's apparently restricted his fire to inanimate objects, but anyway, so that's the fun part of living in the place that I live in Hawaii. So let's see.
What surprised me is you said 8 cop cars showed up. I didn't even know there were 8 cops in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, and they were all of them were here. All 8 of them were here.
So how often are they there?
Glib's right. Good for you, Hawaii.
What's that?
This
right about
website
what?
is working terrible.
Gun channels?
He's right about gun channels. He's right about Hangouts. I don't know what you've done, but
well, okay. Everybody seems to be okay. Maybe gun channels is. I got a lot of spinning circles on gun channels today when I logged on. But whenever I deal with stuff on gun channels, I got to remember I'm dealing with Patrick Swayze's character of Jed from Red Dawn, because that's who G. Webb's kind of models his life after. He's Jed. And everybody else is one of his crew in fighting the Russian invasion or something. Except I guess we're fighting the anti-gunners or something like that. But so whenever I talk to G-Webs, I have to think that, remember, I'm talking to Patrick Swayze's character, Jed, in Red Dawn. So I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but I'm basically on his side. The gun channel's right. If it's not working, it's not working. It's slow, it's slow. But I'm on his side, even though I don't agree with him. So go ahead.
I got a good connection now, so we're back.
Yeah,
I've heard everything you said.
What is up with Google? It's like, okay, is it you that's causing all that weird?
No, it's you.
Me?
Yeah.
When you talk, the screen goes black. Yeah. Your avatar's gone, and all I see is blackness. Squib's avatar I can see fine. So stop blaming. Now
Is
you're
it
back.
back?
Yeah.
All right.
What did you do?
I hate Google.
Well, you're blaming me, though, and
I gotta blame somebody. I can't blame myself. That would be wrong.
even if it's your fault.
Yeah, even if it's my fault, that would be wrong.
Okay.
Once I thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken.
All right. I'm going to try and look on Gun Channel and see if it's working. GC all locked up. Is all of it locked up? I'm going to try and type something on the Gun Channel site here. Let's see. Test. Well, that came up. Before I was getting spinning circles when I would try and type in a text chat. But
What else is wrong? I can't find this reload formula that I was using.
what does that have to do with the internet?
Who cares about the internet? I'm looking for this formula.
Well, maybe you could find it on the internet. I don't.
Maybe Rocket Man sent something.
Yes, he doesn't want rocket. The North Koreans don't want squib reloading.
Yeah, I might give him a couple.
All right, what were we supposed to talk about? Oh yeah, I'm on my second Mai Tai, so you should have never told me that alcohol makes a good blood thinner, Squib. Because I know aspirin does the same thing, but Mai Tais are just more fun. So
I said alcohol will keep you regular.
Next week, I can have alcohol.
okay, does that mean I have to be sober next week?
I'm weaning off of my blood thinners right now, so next week I can have alcohol.
Well, I'll try and wean off alcohol in between now and next week then.
How much can you have? Dusty?
Well, I guess we can do a test next week and see at what point he passes out.
I'm already feeling better, but I have been having some weird blood pressure issues lately. But when I went to the doctor Friday and we changed all my meds and pretty good. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, I felt pretty good. I mean, went to the pool and the police weren't here to fuck with me. They were here to fuck with somebody else. So,
well, one day last week I was over 200 with my blood pressure. So my blood pressure, taking medicine for 6 months, but all of a sudden it quit working. And now this morning, I'm trying to think what my wife tested at when I got up this morning. I think this morning when I woke up, my wife said it was 165 over 90, which is still not good. It really should be back in that 130 to 140 range.
Okay, but let's not turn this into the old guys talking of comparing their heart medications again. We say that I know, after the show.
Squib doesn't know what any of this is like. He'll learn someday, but
well, if he lives that long, I hope so. But
I hope he does too.
So, it's nice that somebody knew what an AR-18 was because I had never even heard of one before. And I saw it in that movie. It was interesting. They even had a debris hut, which I know they did. Jackie Chan didn't have time to build, but there's the scene where he's camping outside the Pierce Brosnan's Irish farm because he wants to get the names of the bombers off of this guy. So he's giving him a hard time, and he's set up a debris shelter And what was interesting was how he used some bent over sticks in the debris shelter that were kind of restrained by another stick. And when his place was being surveilled, and one of the IRA gunmen was found his shelter, he just pulled out these bent back sticks that were part of the shelter. He just pulled back the another stick that was restraining, and like 5 tension pieces of wood just sprang up and knocked the guy down. I had never thought of setting up a trap like that with just bent over sticks that were just loose and being held by another stick as a kind of a natural whack-a-mole to stun somebody for a few seconds. But it was interesting. That's about the only thing that was surprising to me. I mean, there were some interesting things with bombs that Jackie Chan did as far as setting up an explosive in a bathroom, but it was Jackie Chan playing a special forces guy trying to mess with the IRA, pretty much. And there was a lot of good fighting scenes, but he was really acting through the whole movie, and there wasn't any throwaway comedy kind of stuff like Rush Hour. So I enjoyed it. And anyway, all right. So as far as the whole thing with the Marines go, I don't think there's any excuse on the planet for doing anything to that video besides taking it out of search engines or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that video. Unless you hate America.
And I agree with you on that. I really don't think that video should have been took down. I kind of think, and it goes along with a lot of the statues and all that's going on right now. That's been going on for the last few months. Ben, I mean, that's a classic photo. That's a classic song that had been took down.
Yeah, so there were 2 famous photographers on Iwo. Joe Rosenthal was one, and the other was this other photographer who I think took this picture, and he was an actual combat photographer that died fighting in Iwo Jima. And so I think he was I forgot what medal they gave him. I don't know if he won the CMH or something else, but he died in combat on Iwo Jima, the guy that took that picture. So I think taking it down was kind of un-American. But anyway, I said my piece on that one.
I agree, and I'm sure Squib agrees.
Well, is Squib still here?
May have lost him.
Let's see. Oh, I see. Okay, I kind of heard one word. I heard "can you." I'm going to assume the rest of it was "hear me," but I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I'm moving my phone closer to the window to try to get more bars.
I tell you to walk outside. Degrees outside right now, Squib. So don't walk outside, okay?
It's like 82 degrees here, so.
Well, in addition to trying to give my some peace, I'm down here working on a few things. I just put on my motorcycle gloves with my liners to see if I can fit them into the trigger guard on my Henry for when I go deer hunting, and that works out.
When does deer hunting season start there?
November 15th.
15th. That's a national holiday, don't you know?
Deer hunting in Michigan. I'm just glad I survived the Kona Ironman triathlon. Things were really crazy around here. Well, every year, people from everywhere on the planet descend on Kona like locusts. None of them apparently have ever seen a crosswalk or a traffic signal or a stop sign or have ever know anything about traffic courtesy or anything like that. And this town, it took me over almost an hour to go like a quarter of a mile from Walmart back to my condo last week, and there were like helicopters hovering right over my condo to take close pictures of the racers And one guy, it's like, I know one guy got into an accident on one of the bicycles before the triathlon, and he fractured his spine, and so he had to. He was out of the race because couldn't get out of. He was in track. He's got put in traction for 5 to 6 weeks after that, but I've never seen so many. I mean, discourteous drivers jam packed in this tiny little town, and boy, it was a mess. I'm just glad I survived it. It's like the purge here, except there's no law, there's no traffic law, and there's nobody that intends to enforce the traffic laws for 1 week, because that would be uncool to the Ironman triathletes or something like that. But, and the helicopter people, the helicopter pilots are flying like way too low. And it's like they've never heard of telephoto lenses or something, that you don't need to fly 5 feet off the ground or over my roof to get a good shot. I mean, it's the most annoying group of tourists every year. It's like it happens every year. It's like the purge. There's no law in Kona. There's no traffic law anywhere in this town. Every time the Ironman is in town. So.
In regards to deer season, Squib,
Yeah.
anytime you want to come and scout for a site to set, just come by.
Do you have deer
I'm
on
sure
your?
I'll have time.
Well, now that you can drink. I'll
There you
come on
go.
by.
Bring me some beer.
Do they have?
I get
You
the
don't have-
mingling.
You don't have deer on your farm, though. I mean, because it's not wild
Don't.
deer country.
Oh my goodness, Hawaii!
I
This is
don't.
where you show that you're a city boy.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought your farm
I
was
am-
all completely farmlands, not country, just plain regular country. I thought it was all dedicated farmlands. Am I wrong in that assumption?
Yes, very wrong. In southern
Okay.
Michigan, live in cornfields, they live in bean fields, they live in woods. It does not need to be wild land for a deer to live. I do own 60 acres of woods also, though, Hawaii. But I have deer on my farm. And that's what I was telling Squib. He's going to come. We're going to visit. We're going to go scout. Place for him to sit. And hopefully he gets a deer on my farm this year.
I'm thinking what I might be able
My
to
goal.
do. What if I can just like perch myself, make like a rifle rest right behind one of the hedgehogs, right? And they'll get tangled in the wire, and then I can just take them down.
You could do that, but I have quite a few different blinds on the farm, and I'll probably set you in one of my blinds. I mean, it's nice to hunt with a roof over your head.
Yeah, I
don't know about you.
was in a deer blind for the first time yesterday. Never been in one. I've been up in a tree
Okay.
stand just to see what it's like, but I've never been in a blind. And I shot my rifle out of a blind yesterday, and that was kind of weird. I'm used to shooting into windows, not out of them. So that was a little strange. But
And I don't know how high it was, but even 10 foot makes a world of difference shooting your gun.
oh, the elevation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
Well, I
Okay.
purposely made the target that I was shooting at difficult to hit, but I'm trying to think. Most of the time when I fired down from above, it's been up on a hill into a valley. So, yeah, I don't know. It gave me a better field of view.
Oh, sometimes 10 foot is all you need in the woods. It puts you over top of that brush. You see everything that you want to see.
Well, I can say this much. There's still leaves on a tree and a corn's still up. But in a month, all that'll be down, and the visibility should.
All that'll change. That's
Yeah.
right. You're right there, too.
Well, don't the deer kind of tend to stay in cover, some kind of where there's lots of vegetation for them leaves to chew on and things like that?
Yes and no. But opening day in Michigan is totally different for the deer. They have no idea what is going on.
Yep.
Because there's all these funny scents in the woods, so they go everywhere opening day because they don't understand all these people scents in the woods. They don't understand all these bangs in the woods. And opening day is crazy. After opening day, then you have to start hunting again.
I figure it's going to be a learning experience this year. That's for sure. I mean, I've already learned a lot of things that I didn't know. But I took hunter safety back in what, 6th grade. So,
well, I had deer once and it tasted pretty good. So
yeah,
but I didn't do it. I just ate it.
You're going to hunt with your other friend opening day. You can hunt with somebody that can really teach you.
Ooh.
Not to pat myself on the back, but after opening day, we'll teach you how to hunt.
Yeah. Well, I know where you have to shoot them in the vitals around the lower front part where their vital, or I know where their vital organs are, but.
And if you happen to shoot one opening day squib, drive a few extra miles to my house and leave that deer here so I could butcher it for you.
Alrighty.
It's just an offer. I want your first deer to taste the best it could ever taste.
I'll be happy if I see one. I'll be elated if I actually am able to hit the target. So,
well, and if you do, I want to butcher it for you.
All right, then.
That's all right. And I won't charge you. I'm just going to butcher it for you. Just because I get along with you and I like you.
Except for when you're talking about controversial gun bills.
Well, we disagree sometimes, but that's good. If him and I got along all the time, we probably would not be friends.
Right. Do you want to go over some of these bills? Call them out by name and number? Or not really?
Yeah.
All right, let me run down. I'm upstairs right now. Let me run down and grab my notes that I made, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
I was trying to find what I sent you the other night, and I can't find them. So.
All right. Well, he'll get them, and hopefully you'll remember what he's talking about. Meanwhile, I will continue to imbibe my blood-thinning beverage, also known as a Mai Tai.
Yeah, well, lucky you. But I am thinking about having a beer right now.
Yeah, well, I was going to do a barbecue and the beer review today, but because I had to start the show earlier, I didn't get to the barbecue.
A second, I got to run to the cooler. I can't stand it any longer.
Go ahead.
Okay.
He ran to the cooler. Give him a minute to get back.
All right. Yeah, I grabbed
He needs a beer. I guess it's me sitting here drinking my Mai Tai that's making him thirsty.
Okay. Dusty, is it a real beer or a near beer?
This is a real one. I'm going to send a picture to HVS.
You're going to get in so much trouble.
Isn't that great?
Why? Who am I going to report him to?
I'll send you a picture too, Square, if I can find it. All right, here's HVS.
The BATFE. There's alcohol and firearms in that.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to check my phone after the show. I left it downstairs.
No, I got my phone here.
This is bad. My wife is calling me right now.
She knows she's got a trail cam in there.
She's listening to the show and she's telling you that.
She is like, I cannot believe this guy.
Hello.
Busted
on air. On air.
With Squib and HVS on YouTube. I'll be in a few minutes. We started our show early tonight, so I could be done before 10 o'clock.
You better not be drinking any beer.
Huh? I already told him that I had to be in the house by 10 o'clock. Want to check my blood pressure? Okay. I'll be in, I don't know, our show will probably be over in about 20 or 30 minutes. And
Okay.
in case you don't know, they are cracking up laughing in my ear right now. I guess. I don't know. All right. Bye.
So,
good night. Love
let
you.
this be a lesson to all. If you broadcast live, don't say anything you don't want your wife to hear.
You're loving that, aren't you, Squib?
My wife wouldn't listen to this. She'd just roll her eyes and go, whatever. But you got busted on air, man.
Oh, I got busted big time.
The instant he goes to grab a beer, the phone rings and it's the wife.
Yeah,
telling
and
you.
I just went to grab a beer and she calls.
I'm telling you, your workshop is bugged. It is bugged.
Your wife has ESP.
Something.
There, Squib, I just sent you my picture too. Hawaii should have it already.
I don't see anything on the messaging.
So if I read off some of these bills, is it going to raise your blood pressure right before she checks it?
It don't matter.
Okay, well, then let's raise it.
All
So
right.
this is what I use for my source of reference. Pink posted a link to guns.com, and the article was House Dems propose bills to stop online ammo sales, ban mags. So I read into it, and they listed 3 bills, and I went ahead and I looked them up. Now, in this article, they had something in here that I did not know, and I had to go look up the fact and find out why exactly it was in there. And then afterward, people commented, and I went through and read the comments, and I wrote some notes summarizing some of the good points in the comments. There was four gun control and against gun control comments at the end of this, but something that was in here that I didn't know is it says currently dealers must report multiple handgun sales, while a 2011 rule that requires currently dealers must report multiple handgun sales, while a 2011 rule requires only dealers in Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas to report multiple rifle sales. Under the new proposal, it would be the law of the land, meaning you'd have to report multiple rifle or pistol sales. So I was like, what? Arizona? That's like the freest state in the union. What gives? I looked it up. No, it's actually legit. Even though you don't have to report the multiple handgun sales, I believe is an old holdover from 1934 or 1968. Remember, criminals use mostly handguns and stolen handguns. But they think that if somebody's buying a whole bunch of handguns, they're going to turn right around and give them or sell them to criminals. So if somebody's buying a whole bunch, they want to know. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come knocking on your door. I can tell you, I went to my local FFL and I walked out of there with 3 or 4 Milsurp pistols that I had ordered from Classic Firearms. I think it was 4. And nobody came knocking on my door. So it just, I guess, it's something they do. I don't agree with it, but hey, whatever. But they don't track long guns. So the reason they track long guns in Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas is because they're border states. It was an ATF thing from 2011. I didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
No.
No, I guess I didn't really either. So
Yeah. So, and with that, HR 4025, the Multiple Firearms Sales Reporting Modernization Act of 2017. Now, on each of these bills, at the top, it lists the sponsors of the bill. And in some cases, it lists what state they're from. I don't know why it doesn't list every state. And what I found weird was, first thing was, Feinstein wasn't on this bill. So that was kind of weird. She was on the bump stock. She's the very first one on the bump stock one, but she wasn't on this one.
If she wins re-election, she'll be in the Senate in her 90s.
So the bill says,
reminds me of the vampire movies I've been watching. She looks like a vampire after somebody drove a wooden stake through her. And I'm just waiting for her to turn to dust. But yeah, I watched the horror of Dracula last night. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. We agree she's shit, but let's go on.
Yeah, she is. So it says Section 923, subsection G, subsection 3, subsection A of Title 18 United States Code. Now, if you Google Title 18 United States Code, Section 923, it falls in under, I mean, it's pages and pages of this stuff, but there's 921, 923, 929. There's all these different sections in there. And if you go through, it explains all the federal firearms laws. It's really interesting. What they want to do is amend it by striking the words pistols or revolvers and any combination of pistols and revolvers totaling 2 or more, and replacing it with the word firearms. So under the current law, it says each licensee shall prepare a report of multiple licensee, meaning FFL holder, the gun dealer, the legal licensed gun dealer. Each FFL holder shall prepare a report of multiple sales or other dispositions whenever the licensee sells or otherwise disposes of at one time or during any 5 consecutive business days 2 or more pistols or revolvers or any combination of pistols and revolvers totaling 2 or more to an unlicensed person, which would be us because we don't have an FFL. Doesn't mean illegal. So that's the way the law is written. They want to take pistols and revolvers out of there, which has been in since I have no idea how long, and just replace it with any firearm. Okay, that's clearly written. It's BS. They shouldn't be tracking any of this at all. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to say that if somebody's buying a whole lot of guns, they must be reselling them. No, they're just a collector. If you don't know that, then you're obviously not into guns. So that was the one. And then there's another one, HR 3962. Also, no Feinstein in this one. Oh, by the way, Dusty, I looked and I didn't see any Michigan representatives in any of these. Florida, California, New York, but nobody from Michigan, unless I missed a name. I was trying to look for my rep because he's anti-gun.
I just want to say hello to Jesse James in Ohio out there. Okay, go ahead.
No,
that's good.
I don't have both screens up,
Squid.
so I don't know.
Really?
Let's see, what do we got? We got 6 watching now. Hi, guys. Oh, by the way, hello.
The one we have to worry about for Michigan is Wahlberg.
Gary Peters. He lives up to his name. So
And
yeah.
Feinstein.
Yeah. So there's no Feinstein on this bill. And HR 3962, so it's called the Stop Online Ammunition Sales Act of 2017. And it says, conforming to Amendment Section 921, subsection A, subsection 11, subsection A of Title 18 U.S. Code, is amended by inserting or ammunition after firearms. So in that, it says, is this the right section? Everything's all, let me tell you, reading these legal documents is no fun. Okay, so the law says the term, and then in quotations, dealer means A, any person engaged in the business of selling firearms at wholesale or retail, or B, any person engaged in the business of repairing firearms or making the fitting special barrel stocks or trigger mechanisms to firearms, or C, any person who is a pawnbroker. The term licensed dealer, once again in quotes, bolded, means any dealer who is licensed under the provisions of this chapter. So they want to replace firearms under those descriptions with by adding firearms or ammunition. So they're going to say that if you sell ammunition, you're a dealer. Now, it doesn't say in here that I can find that says you have to have an FFL to sell ammunition. But in doing so, let's see here. Striking subparagraph, blah, 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 legal.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad if a private person couldn't just sell ammo that he has and didn't need anymore.
I think this first part on the first page is defining ammunition sales as somebody selling ammunition as a dealer, not necessarily saying they have to have an FFL. What it comes over here says licensed dealer to transfer ammunition to a person unless the licensee in the physical presence of the person has verified the identity of the person by examining a valid identification document as defined in section 1028 subsection D of this title, which title 18. I'm guessing, but I found it.
All you have to do is look at their ID, and then it's legal.
Okay, so this is what it says. It says, oh, no, 1028. I'm sorry, 1028 is not in the firearms. 1028 is the law explaining what is a valid ID. That's what 1028 is. Let's see.
And then we get to the whole thing about what's that ID law they passed a few years back where real ID or something that was really annoying.
I don't know. I don't know why I didn't print it and staple it, but I looked over it, and it's more or less it talks about all the different kinds of things that qualify as ID, and it's your driver's license, state ID, that sort of thing, passport, stuff like that. So that's all 1028 is. It's nothing to be afraid of. So
say I died, and I told my wife that I wanted all my ammo to go squib. What would happen?
She's not a dealer. It just doesn't cover. I can't find anything in the language in
my
here.
wife.
Right. I can't find any language in here about person to person. Okay, all I can find is dealers. Now here's the other thing though. Okay, so it explains it changes the definition of a dealer to somebody who also sells ammunition. It explains that what you have to look for, what the government's saying is a valid ID, right? And then at the end it goes, each licensee shall prepare a report of multiple sales or other dispositions whenever the licensee sells or otherwise disposes of at any one time during any 5 consecutive business days more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition to an unlicensed person. So if you have an FFL, obviously transferring it's no big deal. But if you're not an FFL, if you buy more than 1,000 rounds from the same dealer within a 5-day time span, they want you to report it to the Attorney General.
1,000 rounds? That's like one case.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, it is. And for some people, that's 2 days at the range. So the thing. Okay, there's a lot of wording in here, but the thing that gets me is at least it doesn't say that I can find anything about owner to owner. So you could be the guy going out buying 1,000 rounds at a time or 900. They'll start selling packs of 990. You watch, right? If this were to pass, and then you're giving it to the bad guys. The bad guys don't buy 1,000 rounds at a time. Whatever is in the gun when they buy it stolen is all they carry. They don't carry ammo like us.
Well, wait a minute. Nobody who sells stolen guns to bad guys gives it to them loaded. Okay, they aren't stupid enough to give a bad guy a loaded gun. They'll give him a gun that's not loaded and take their money, but they don't want them showing up with it. No, they will not.
I disagree.
If somebody shows up with ammo, and you'll tell them either get out or they'll get shot for doing that. I mean, you're talking about illegal gun sales by hoods.
Okay, most of these hoods don't even know how to take the magazine out. They don't know how to work the safety.
But the people who sell the guns do.
They don't.
But the people who sell guns do.
I'm not talking about an FFL.
Neither am I. I'm talking about thugs who sell guns professionally.
No. Thugs. Yes. I'm not. I'm telling you.
Being a crook doesn't mean they're stupid.
They steal it. They'll steal it out of the house, and if it's loaded, they don't unload it. And then when they go to sell it, they sell it as is. And when that guy goes to commit a crime, whatever's in it is what he's got. He don't go to Walmart and buy a box of ammo. You're out of your mind. They don't do none of that stuff. They just pitch it and they go get another stolen gun.
You think bad guys don't go to Walmart?
Look, HVS, I would like to take you to a gun show.
Well,
And
I've
so hand
seen
you a
quite a
gun.
few of those the confidential informant that I've seen enough police shows and where they are in reality shows where they actually take you where there's like one guy who sells guns and he knows how to use them and he doesn't sell anybody. Basically, he says if somebody shows up with ammo, that they're either going to get shot or I'm going to throw them out. They show up with their money, I give them the gun, and then they leave, and that's it. There's no ammo anywhere in it except in the guns. And he's got one guy who's there. He's got one security guy with the gun watching him the whole time, and the gun is out when the guy with the money shows up. This is talking about people who have no problem killing somebody, who are just trying to make a quick buck selling some stolen guns. They will shoot the guy before they let him have ammo anywhere near.
They don't. Okay, you're talking about.
I went to a show yesterday. I went to a show yesterday.
No, you're talking about stolen guns the way they sell them in the movies, dude.
Not in the movies.
Go on, Dust.
I'm just saying, I went to a gun show yesterday. As we walked in the gun show, at the door, checking all the guns.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't a gun show. I'm not talking about a gun show. You're talking about illegal people knowingly selling guns to criminals.
A minute, let me finish my story.
All right.
I was checking all the guns as we went in the show. All right. So I'm walking, and they put tags on them. I'm walking around the show. I seen a guy that had a gun I wanted to look at. I asked him to see it. When I checked that gun, it was loaded. So we can do everything we can to check guns, but there is guns that are loaded.
When you have a couple punks go into a house and they're looking for cash, they're looking for jewelry, they're looking for guns, maybe electronics, not big screen TV electronics like Xboxes or something like that. Small stuff that they can carry and they can flip real easy. What they're going to do is they're going to sell it to somebody in their neighborhood who needs a gun. Man, I need a gun. I need a gun because my cousin's scared. Oh, here, man, here's a gun and however much cash, and they just hand it to him. And when he gets his crappy high point, it's loaded. I'm telling you, they don't go, oh man, because you do not mess with these guys. You're there buying guns and drugs and other things from these guys. You don't mess with them in a Hollywood.
You don't mess with the people that sell the guns. You got it all wrong. A bad guy wants to show up.
Yes, you don't mess with the people who sell them. That's why when this guy says, "Hey man, I need a gun for my cousin or something like that," they sell you a gun and that's it. You don't try to rob them. You'll get killed. In the movies, they open up a trunk in some car, some remote desert location, and the guy's got an arsenal in there. And the guy's
how it works in real life is that they call the guy that they know sells them that illegally, and then they meet them at an apartment, and they do not. They'll tell them just show up with the money, get your piece, and leave. And if they show up with ammo or another gun, they'll just shoot the guy. They aren't gonna risk one thing. I saw one of these deals go down on a reality TV show of somebody who was actually selling illegal guns, and basically the guy walks in the door. The security guy has a gun on him. The guy working the security has a gun out and pointed at him the whole time. He puts the money on the table. The guy puts the gun on the table. The money is picked up, the gun is picked up, and the guy leaves, and done deal. That's it.
I live 13 miles from Detroit. I'm telling you how people buy stolen guns in Detroit, man. You don't go to a guy who's got a whole bunch of them. You don't go to a guy. You call him up.
No, you call him up, and he sets up a time. Where and when to meet him.
It is word of mouth. It is untraceable. It is cash. It is not a lot of cash, and all they're doing is stealing guns from people's houses that are probably already stolen. That's why they don't get reported. Hey, I'd like to report that the gun that I bought that was stolen got stolen from me. Hell no.
And I have a ad right now for a gun that's in Detroit, and I'm scared to death to go buy it.
Okay, no, it's in fucking Troy, dude. Troy is like a rich neighborhood.
Just have a deal at Squibb's house. Tell him to meet you at
I
Squibb's
used to
house.
work in Troy. No, it's Troy, man.
I'll send you the money. You go buy that gun
No,
for me.
I
then.
am not, because that is a straw purchase, sir. Besides that,
Oh.
the only reason I wouldn't want to go to Troy, they got way too many cops. You'll get pulled over for speeding even when you're not speeding. Not that it's ever happened to me. Whatever.
Yeah, this reminds me. Somebody be careful on YouTube, because somebody wanted to talk to me, meet me and talk story, which is how they put it in Hawaiian lingo, and I was like, nope, because he wanted to talk about guns and stuff. I was like, dude, I don't sell guns, and I'm not meeting anybody off of YouTube. Thanks. That just texts me that I don't. Well, you guys would be different, because I've been talking to you for a year, over a year, I think now, that you guys have been on my show. But just some random person calls me and that lives in Hawaii and wants to meet me. No. And especially if they want to talk about guns, like.
We've got 28 minutes to get Dusty's blood pressure up. So, more or less, HR 3962. HR 3962, the best I can tell is you have to show your ID in order to buy ammunition online if you're buying more than 1,000 rounds at any one time from the same person within a 5-day period. Okay, I can tell you this. Half of the websites I buy ammunition from online already require me to show my ID because of my age. And they keep I scan it, I email it to them as a PDF, they keep it in my file, and when I go to do my next order, they go, oh, his squib's already in our system, he's good to go. Half of the places I buy shells from, not reloading components, not powder, just complete cartridges, already do that. And not for 1,000 rounds either. If you want to buy a box of 20, they want your driver's license. Okay. The other thing is what they'll do.
For some reason, I still get carded buying alcohol sometimes. It's fucking annoying. And I'm 53. Why are they carding me?
It's because you
Wait
look
a minute. I find this interesting because I've never had that happen.
Depends on who you buy from.
More ammo.
How many different sites do you buy ammo from?
Well, I don't buy off the internet anymore because of the shipping charges.
The major ones. Midway.
Well, the first one that comes to mind for me is Southern Ohio Gun. They might have been the last one I bought that needed my ID on file. I'd have to go look into some of my sales records because I do keep track of what I buy. So I guess when the government raids my house, goes on my computer, they'll be, oh my goodness, he's been buying ammunition since 1980 something.
And you have over 1,000 rounds.
Yes,
I mean,
So this is what they'll do. People will they will buy at the store. They will buy at the store instead of buying online. The stores will just charge more. The online retailers will sell them in packs of 990, not 1,000. They'll redo it just to make people happy, and they'll probably jack up the prices. People will buy from multiple places. They'll buy 500 rounds here, 500 rounds there, 500 rounds there, 500 rounds. This law is so easy to get around, and like I said, there are already people doing this for less than 1,000
rounds. You don't
expect
rounds. Gun control laws to actually work.
No, they never work. They never work. But I'm just saying this law is kind of stupid. I still think we should fight it. But whatever. But the thing though is the reason that they were asking for my ID was just to prove that I was over 18. That's it. They weren't trying to track this or track that. They were just they wanted proof just to cover their butt for being,
Isn't a credit card that you pay with proof that you're over 18?
You know what? I could be using my dad's credit card.
Not necessarily.
I could be using my dad's credit card. I can impersonate my dad. We both have the same first and last names. We have different middle names, and I know his social. So, and we're both Marines. I have
prepaid credit card in your daughter's name, which I have a 16-year-old girl. Her a prepaid credit card. So,
now
I mean, that's right. That part's right.
I saved the best for last, Dusty. This is the one that when I'm talking about you have multiple things to fight and you have so much resources, this is the one I think we need to put the most resources in right now. If there's anyone out here that really needs to be fought, I'm not saying we shouldn't fight the others. I'm just saying unless we have limitless resources, anyhow, 4052. This is the kick in the teeth one. Once again, no Feinstein. Weird. It's called the Keep Americans Safe Act.
Oh, I already don't like it.
Oh, it's Section 921, subsection A of Title 18, United States Code. By adding this to paragraph 29, and the reason they want to, oh, I'm sorry, after paragraph 29, the reason they want to add it after paragraph 29 was paragraph 30 and 31 were repealed in 1994 and 2000. So 30 and 31 are blank right now. So they could just, the first blank spot in this long law is where they just want to slip these in. That's the only reason I can find for why they picked that section. Anyhow, it says, means a magazine, belt, drum, feed strip, or similar device that has the capacity of, or that can be readily restored or converted to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition, but does not include an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating only with 22 caliber rimfire ammunition. So what they're doing is they're appealing to the FUDs by saying grandpa's old 22 that'll hold 16 rounds, we're not going to touch. But everything else with a detachable feeding system of any sort can't have more than 10 rounds or be modified to accept more than 10 rounds. And the way I read it, they're including stripper clips and everything. So it says, except as provided in Clause 2, which I think has to do with law enforcement and government people, it would be unlawful for a person to transfer or possess. So they're not even grandfathering this in, which is the first thing that's going to get it shot down. You cannot pass a law like this with so many of these things out there. There's no way you can't do it without saying we're going to grandfather them. But anyhow, to transfer or possess a large capacity magazine feeding device. And they just defined what it was. So you go through all these pages, blah, 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 blah. At the very end, it says, whoever knowingly violates Section 922, paragraph 5.
Knowingly. Okay.
Knowingly. So I didn't know. Shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. Identification markings. Section 923, subsection I.
Is this a federal law or a state law?
This is federal. All of these are federal. These are proposals. These aren't laws. These are these are proposals amending federal laws, existing federal laws. Some of them really old. Of such title is amended by adding at the end of the following: a large capacity ammunition feeding device manufactured after the date of the enactment of this sentence shall be identified by the serial number that clearly shows that the device was manufactured after the date of enactment.
Wait, do magazines have serial numbers?
They don't. I think this is how they're supposedly think. If we put serial numbers on the ones that the military and the police use, then if they get stolen and sold to the civilians, we can track them. You can't. They already proved with the whole
This
gun
sounds
thing.
like
Numbers don't track.
It sounds like they wanted to put micro dots on ammo or something stupid.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking of that California micro stamping. So they want to serialize anything that holds more than 10 rounds and is detachable after the date that the law becomes goes into effect. And I believe that's for law enforcement and military. So I looked into this. The sponsor of the bill is some Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty from, I don't know, where the hell is she from? Connecticut or something? Connecticut. Psycho Camp, jump in here, man. So I looked her up. Yeah. So she is from Connecticut, and she says that, or it says here in an article, this is from her website. Yeah, this is from the Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty website. They have recent events. So I clicked on recent events, printed this, and I highlighted Esty's bill was endorsed by leading law enforcement organizations like the International Association of Chiefs of Police. International, really? How about the American Association of Police Chiefs? I'm not buying this international thing. I didn't look them up. I probably should have, but I think it's bogus. Well, I should say, who cares about what international cops think? We want to know what American cops think. So, and the major cities Chiefs Association. So like Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles. Okay. once again, these are all these left-wing cities that are controlling the whole doggone state. They're already not giving this thing a whole lot of credibility. And the veterans organization Vote Vets, never heard of them, but I looked them up because as a veteran, I was kind of pissed. The gun owners group, American Coalition for Responsible Gun Ownership. I looked that one up. It's a farce. It's real, but it's some guy who says he likes guns, but he likes gun control. And somebody's going to go, well, didn't you say that, Squib? No, I said when I was younger, I liked guns, but I agreed with gun control. I'm older now. I don't agree with gun control. As well as major gun violence prevention organizations throughout the country. And then she goes on to say, this is in her quotes, and I found this in more than one article where she said this quote, "There is simply no good reason why sportsmen and women need more than 10 rounds in a magazine. No sportsman or woman needs 30 rounds to kill a deer. It is shameful that we protect our deer better than we protect our people." Okay, stop right there. Is the Second Amendment about hunting? No, it is not.
They did not write the Second Amendment because the deer were coming.
This moron is bringing up the Second Amendment from the hunting angle. Yet again, we have another idiot going, it's for hunting. Well, it's not. The Second Amendment is about a deterrent. And it's
I have
infuriating.
a meme for that. I have a meme specifically for that one, but
so she says in quotes, "There's just no practical purpose for a high-capacity magazine that a high-capacity magazine has, other than for someone out looking to kill a lot of people." Oh, I'm sorry, wasn't her. This is Will Fisher from VoteVets.org. So this is one of their backers, and this is one of the organizations I looked up. So Will Fisher from Vote Vets is saying this. And he says, this has nothing to do with the Second Amendment and everything to do with making sure that our streets don't resemble a war zone with the same deadly results. Okay, so I looked up votevets.org. What a bunch of D-bags. All right, as a veteran, I'm ashamed of these guys. So they say here, votevets.org in their website, it says here, votevets.org has and will continue to work with all progressive allies. Progressive, right then and there, that tells you these guys are messed up. Progressive allies representing labor, immigration, gay and lesbian rights, and environmentalists when their issues coincide with the needs of troops and veterans. What does that have to do, Nice? What does that have to do with gun rights? It doesn't. So according to their website, they have over 500,000 supporters in all 50 states. They have over 5 million voter contacts since 2006, spending over $2 million in direct mail phone calls and voter canvasses. They have raised over $30 million and used that $30 million since they've been created. They've run over 51 TV commercials and radio spots in 32 states. I've never heard of these guys, advocating in support of our friends. They've aired over $22 million in television and radio ads advocating re-election for allies and urging the defeat of those who do not support the troops and veterans. So these guys are anti-gun, and they've got money, and they've got members. So they are going to use it to support the people.
Michael Bloomberg's the one you need to worry about.
He is. I understand that. He's the big one, but I'm just saying there's another group out here, and they should be ashamed of themselves calling them veterans because they fought for our Second Amendment rights. They should be standing by them, and they're not.
So this was the meme. I think that instead of the circular firing squad, we need people working on more pro-gun memes because that's how I fight nowadays. Is I go on the local paper and I post memes like this and stuff when people raise all the stupid issues that get raised over and over. So, well, I'm just against circular firing squad.
So the people backing the Congresswoman who introduced the bill are some left-leaning groups, obviously. I just brought up the one, and they've got money. Sure, there's Bloomberg and there's other things, but I'm just saying they're out there, they're supporting these people, they've got money. The magazine ban, they've tried this before. It didn't work out so well. They've gone in and done different things, and certain things have only gone so far, and this, that, and the other. Here's the thing. If you want to have 100 magazines for every gun you've got, fine. If you want to have one, fine. If you only like to have a 5-round magazine because a 30-round sticks in your way, have a 5-rounder. If you want to have a 100-round drum because, well, you just feel you need it, that's fine. There really isn't. They can argue that if you can carry more ammo in your detachable magazine, drum, belt, whatever it is, that you can lay down more fire. You can, but they're not considering the fact that some of these are really crappy. Some of these guns weren't designed for 50, 60 round mags, and these things are junk and they jam. They're also heavy. They throw off the center of balance of the gun, and they're also heavy to carry. You can have 10, 100 round drums, strap them to your back and run around. You're not going to get very far. So some of these things, by their own physical nature and their crappy design, because they're gimmicks, make them ineffective. Still, there's no reason. I trained with a M16 with a 30-round magazine, detachable magazine. I shoot my AR-15 with the same kind of aluminum 30-round magazine. I put it up against my left forearm the way I was taught when I shoot. Even if I don't have 30 rounds in it, when I'm shooting, I still have that. The government trained me to shoot this way, and they're going to say, you can't have this magazine? No, no. Hey, Jared.
Glad you made it.
Hey, thanks for having me. I just got home from Boston.
Yeah, we decided to start early because the show was keeping everybody up late and in a continual state of sleep deprivation or something.
Dusty, are you okay over there? Did I put your blood pressure through the roof?
His wife raided his shop and is seizing his beer.
He might be having some connection issues too. He is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so it comes and goes.
Yeah, a deer bit his internet cable or something. Because he's been talking about shooting deer, skinning them. So here's some notes that I made based on some of the comments after this article. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. Conspiracy theories hurt the pro-Second Amendment movement. All these people, fun. I know they are fun, but I'm saying when you start talking all these conspiracy theories like, oh, the cops are hiding stuff, or there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll, or the government planned this right before the vote so that they could do this, or when you do that, the people who are in the middle or the people on the other side are definitely going to say you're a kook, and they're not going to want to support us. So think about what you say. I understand you have free speech, and if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But really, I mean, some of the stuff, it doesn't help. Okay, there was somebody's comments in here regarding that, and it kind of reminded me that I've been saying things like that.
Hey, the second shooter was the Secret Service guy. And there was 1 or 2 cars behind.
Dusty's saying he wants to talk. Well, then jump in and talk, damn it. He might be muted. No, he's not muted.
Let me go look. I didn't do anything. Let's see. Okay.
So
muted.
Another note that I made was that we may have other issues that push this out of the spotlight. Hawaii, you're always talking about North Korea planning to nuke us, which they aren't. But whatever.
Well, they say they are.
Well, maybe if they start lobbing a couple more inert missiles into the ocean, people will be focused on that. I mean, they're talking about the tax reform and healthcare reform right now. So you know how America is. We lose focus. And
you only need focus to press the button once.
Well, what I mean is right now people are forgetting about what happened in Las Vegas, and they're focusing on whatever's on the news tonight. So they're putting these bills in based on that stuff, but they're maybe thinking that people aren't paying attention. And maybe the people that are for gun control aren't, but we are. And let's see, what else did I write? There was somebody saying something about why do you need a magazine with more than 10 rounds in it? You can
We don't have a bill of needs. We don't have a bill of needs. We have a bill of rights.
In addition to, if you have certain firearms and the capability to use them through training, through ammunition, magazines, a lot of different things, right? You have the ability to deter our government from becoming tyrannical by the simple fact that we all have guns. We all have guns. We all have access to them. We all have ammunition. We all have access to training. We all have, well, I mean, you don't, Hawaii, because where you live, but whatever. So it's a deterrent, and that's what the Second Amendment is there for. Yes, we have the stuff, and yes, we can use it. But because we have it and because we can use it, the government's not going to come take it, at least not instantly. Oh, okay, Dusty's saying his mic isn't working. So there, you know, yeah, the death by 1,000 paper cuts, it is possible, but it's going to take a heck of a lot in this country. We're not like England where we just roll over and take orders. But what I'm getting at, though, is that because we have this stuff, they're afraid that they can never take over. I don't think they're just sitting there rubbing their hands going, man, 5 days we're going to have everybody under our thumb. But if we didn't have this stuff,
now, the way that the government tries to control Americans is a lot more insidious, and it's a lot more to do with the economy than with anything about guns. The way
a lot of things really just come down to money. But I'm saying, as long as we have this deterrent, we have the ability to deter our government from turning into something it was never meant to be, and that sort of thing. It's not about us being able to overthrow the government because we're planning on it, just like they're not necessarily. If any politician is in office today trying the death by 1,000 paper cuts, by the time their grandchildren are politicians, they'll have our guns, all of them. I don't just mean AR-15s today. I mean everything. So anybody who's trying to do this death by 1,000 paper cuts today won't live long enough to be in power by the time all the paper cuts have bled us dry. So it kind of goes both ways. But the simple fact is, if you have a magazine with more than 10 rounds in it and you know how to use it and it's reliable, then it's a force multiplier. It's a force multiplier to protect you from multiple assailants. Not that I think everybody has 20 people planning to raid their house, but it also is a force multiplier that the government is afraid of you having. So
my blood pressure's high now.
If we keep getting judged by, punished for terrorist actions, they will take it all.
Yes, they will take it all, and they will do it eventually. But I would like to, I guess, try to find a way to get more people to understand what the Second Amendment is really about and understand guns, instead of we're on one side and they're on the other.
It's hard because people who never really understood freedom, when you try and explain this to someone in the UK, it's like, because when the Redcoats came at Lexington and Concord for the guns, the British citizens would have said, "Oh yeah, here, take them. We don't need them." But the colonists weren't willing to give them up. So this is a freedom, and this is something that free men were just not going to give up. And
that's where the war started, man.
And it didn't. And when they wrote the Constitution, Jefferson did put his hand up and say, "If technology progresses, none of this applies." He didn't put his hand up and say that.
He didn't. And in places
Anybody
like England,
hear me yet?
Yeah, go ahead, Dusty. Go ahead
and talk. Dusty.
Okay, finally, I can talk.
Well, it's not my fault if your mic breaks, but.
Well, I know, but why does it do that when I really have something I want to say?
It's Google.
Okay.
At first they banned the Marines, and now they're going after you. Go ahead.
Normally I'm quite a quiet person, but I have something to say right now, and my mic won't work. But anyway, you guys had a picture of a deer here a few minutes ago. One of my sites, or one of my posts on Facebook, I have gotten a lot of negative hits on why an AR to hunt deer with, which Squib knows what my AR is. So that's why I hunt deer with an AR. But the state of Michigan That gun will take a 30-round magazine. In order to be legal, I put a 5-round magazine in it. So that's just kind of, even though a gun can do everything, if you want to follow the laws, you put the magazine in it that makes that gun legal. And that's what a person like me does.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I have to
is
buy a
that gun-
10-round AK mag, even though it's not illegal to use a 30-round. It's gun laws, or some of the Hawaii state laws just are really stupid.
Yes. And, you know, I could put any round or any magazine I wanted in my AR. Deer with that AR. A magazine in it. So I'm just, you know, I guess that people can't obey the laws. Laws that protect idiots. But
Well,
that's,
or people with mental disease. That's
my
I guess
point.
that's the part of the show that you said yesterday. Or that last week you missed the part of the show when I was talking about the Star Trek episode "Whom the Gods Destroy," where there was a mental insane asylum for criminally homicidal patients, and the Enterprise visits with a cure for that because they're delivering this a medicine that will cure brain damage and mental disease, and the lunatics have taken over the asylum and take Captain Kirk and Spock prisoner. And the what I had, in case anybody missed last week's show, it was just that when these homicidal maniacs were administered the actual cure, then they were just normal people again. The problem was that they had a mental disease or brain damage, and their brain just wasn't working. And so but this mythical disease, this mythical cure doesn't exist in our world, but you can't ban freedom because one person has a mental, their brain stops working, and you basically they always want to punish people that didn't do anything wrong for something that somebody with a brain damage did. And
okay. To that point, I would like to quote Tony York from the Early Watch today. He said, and I quote, "People feel the need to do something. Guns are the easy one." What he's saying is, anytime there's something, a tragedy, and a firearm is used.
But they never propose something that works. They always propose something that doesn't work.
They don't know. They don't understand. All they know is movies. Sorry, Hawaii. All they know are movies, and all they know are TV shows, and all they know is what the news tells them. We already know the news gets the facts wrong. They don't know the difference between one thing or another. The movies definitely. Everybody in Gun Channel is all like, "Oh, John Wick. He did one of the. I mean, the two John Wick
I was
movies,
talking about Jackie Chan and the Foreigner.
No. Before it was earlier in the year when the John Wick movie came out. Everybody's like, "Oh, I got to get the same gun as him," and blah blah blah. Okay, the movies were good. The second one wasn't as good as the first. And yes, he did use some actual moves that they teach you in training, and he does 3-gun matches now. Keanu Reeves does that stuff, and that's all good and fine. But those two movies did as much as any other movie that we think is cool to go against our cause, because people see that shit and they think it's real. They really think you can walk down this hallway with all these people and just pull a suppressed pistol out of your coat and just point it at an angle and hit a guy up on the mezzanine above, and it's not making any noise and nobody's going to see it, hear it, or nothing. You know, they think that you can
this
buy
is again Hollywood hypocrisy, because it's not just the Weinstein scandal. It's like John Wick. These actors make a fortune. Didn't Liam Neeson come out against guns or something? And
a lot of them
and they make millions and millions of
this
in the movie and about where they're shooting guns all over the place. And
this is what people believe.
But it's the only thing that has ever mattered in Hollywood.
All right.
The only thing that has ever, I'm going to say this, get this out. The only thing that has ever mattered in Hollywood is the box office numbers. You put butts in seats, people buy popcorn. That's all that matters. It didn't matter who sexually abused who. The only thing that ever, and I don't think this will ever change. The only thing that matters is the box office.
Let's take this another direction. Really sit there and think. I know all of us are gun people. Saying what I'm going to say, I may have visitors in the next few days. But if any one of us was in the location that guy was, he started taking the shots that guy said, would we not have more than 60 deaths?
If I was in that hallway, staying in the room that night, down the hall, and I heard that stuff, yes, I would have gone to try to do something. I would have probably first.
That's not what you're asking, though, Dusty. Dusty is,
no,
but I don't think
that's not really what I meant.
I won't consider your question because I would never do such a thing.
I thought you meant if we were in the vicinity, armed or not, would we have
acted?
I would have.
No, I'm pushing the negative side. If any one of us was that idiot.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I could have done more damage than him without a bump stock. Yes, actually, a bump stock would have been a hindrance, and I wouldn't be using those 60. He was using 60 round mags. I think they were saying those things. Look. There was a sheriff once that did a video, and he showed somebody with a 15 round mag and a pistol shooting at multiple targets, and then he showed somebody with a 1911 and 3 mags, 1 loaded, 2 in his pockets, and he put 21 rounds downrange with the same amount of accuracy, and it only took a couple seconds more. He says if you take away the capacity, they're just going to carry extra mags, and if you're trained properly, you can use them. So yeah, it's I don't like using this, the slippery slope thing. If they take away the air quotes high capacity magazines and leave us with the low capacity air quote magazines, then it's not going to stop crime. So then what's the next thing? To put us all down to single shots. And all these guys who go, well, I don't use more than 10 rounds at a time anyhow. Well, when you're down to a single shot and you're there, you can't make your follow-up shot and that deer gets away or whatever it is, or you're trying to protect your house against more than one person. You go, hold on a second while I reload. You'll be there going, damn, I should have voted against that bill. or voted against the person.
I would just say that I would never do such a thing in the first place, so it's a non-starter of a question for me.
I mean,
unless the North Koreans land on the beach here, I'm not planning on having to shoot nobody.
Now, that's why I'm saying that these bills affect everybody. They don't just affect a handful of people. Also, the whole thing where I was saying before that, maybe we extend the olive branch and say, okay, fine, take freaking bump stops and then kind of laugh under our breath going, didn't like the damn things anyhow. I was thinking, okay, even offer to put them on the NFA or something like that. And then later we repeal the whole NFA and get them back, whatever.
We could trade our bump stocks to North Korea for their
I was trying to say extend the olive branch. But if I was a politician and I had said, yeah, maybe we should look at these bump stock things or whatever, and then they pumped out these 3 bills a week later, I would have said, you know what, bump stocks are off the table. Fuck you guys. So,
and bump stocks is where you got in trouble, Squib. I was going to take those away. I have a bump stock, or I had one. I sold it.
I thought you said you threw it away. Did you sell it?
I might have sold it, but I probably did throw it away.
It's that insignificant. He can't really remember because it was a piece of shit anyhow.
You got it right.
My thing was about extending the olive branch, going, look, we're not a bunch of psychopaths with guns. Look, you want this? Fine. As a peace offering, here you go. Have it. And then they turn right around and go, oh, yeah, and we want all this stuff too. Okay, now it's all off the table. Sorry, you had your chance. I tried to be the good guy. You didn't like that, so now you know what? Fuck you.
Exactly what they did. After the NRA came out and said we would give bump stocks. So then they started talking about semi-automatic weapons. The first thing, what is the rate of fire of a semi-automatic weapon? Oh, determined how fast a semi-automatic weapon fires. So I said anything that impedes the rate of fire of a semi-automatic weapon. We have no idea how fast a semi-automatic weapon fires. So now if we increase that rate somehow, that's illegal. So, I mean, how dumb do they really think we are?
I would like to answer that question. Dumber than dirt. Dumber
Go
than
ahead,
dirt.
Mike.
Dumber than dirt. That's how they act, like we're dumber than dirt.
The only recourse I have right now is to try to do what I can to talk to people who are in the middle or who are on the other side in a calm, rational manner and reach the ones I can. And even if I don't change their mind, they're not walking around looking at me as a threat or looking at me as a nut. When I hear all these people saying all these things online that don't help our cause because somebody's going, these guys are crazy. We're not crazy. There's always going to be some
I'm
bad
not crazy. You're the one who's crazy.
There are probably some liberals out there that are going, Dianne Feinstein does not represent all liberals. Oh my goodness, would you just shut up, Dianne, right? So these bad guys do bad things with the tool of freedom. And we get penalized for it, or we stand the risk of getting penalized for it.
I tried to light a fire under my buddy's ass and was like, "You need to." He's pretty much given up because I don't know. He's like 13 years older than me, so he's been around for a little bit longer, a gun owner. And I was trying to light a fire under his ass. I was like, "Listen, man, in my state specifically, I was like, hypothetically, let's say they're trying to come after the pre-94 magazines. So I just said to him, hypothetically, let's say they come after the pre-94 assault weapons, air quotes. So I said to him, what makes you think they're going to stop there? Some guy's going to shoot up a place with a pistol because he's fucking insane. And then they're going to go, hey, you know what? We have all these statistics that prove that pistols are more dangerous than assault weapons. We need to get rid of semi-automatic pistols. And it's like, he can't see that. It's like, what are you insane?
Well, was he for fighting against gun control in the past, and now he's just given up on it? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, he's got a couple really old pistols, and he's got a Mosin Nagant, and that's it. And he got rid of everything that could be taken.
What I think it might be is he's just tired. Because I got to tell you, dude, I'm tired. There are guys on gun channels that ain't been into guns that long. They talk like they've been, but it's like, I've been into guns since 2009. Oh, give me a break. I'm glad you're into guns, but dude, that ain't very long. Or, I was born in 1986 when they passed the Hughes Amendment. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, and I'm an old guy, but I'm not the oldest guy. I mean, there are guys older than me that remember, back in the good old days and things. They remember before 68 when you could mail order a gun or whatever. But the whole thing is, in addition to just trying to live regular life and pay bills and deal with teenage kids and a job and all the other crap that you got to go through, or health issues, right, guys? Now you got this.
Amen.
And now you got this on top of you, and you go, all right, dude, this is it. Enough is enough. And I tell you what, there are times where I get tired. And when I hear somebody who has no job and no kids and no wife and it seems to be no care in the world telling me I need to fight. It's like, dude, I've been fighting. I've been fighting for a long time. I'm tired. So sometimes I need a break. That doesn't mean I want to let bad things happen. I don't. I have more in this than some other people. I got kids. I got kids that I've taught to respect and enjoy firearms. And I hope one day to have grandkids that do the same thing. And for somebody who has no kids telling me, that they've got more in it than no, you don't. Unless you got nephews or nieces that you're going to will your crap to. No. But I'm telling you, even I get tired. So.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't think you can make any argument based upon whether somebody else does or doesn't have kids. So I.
Well, no, because if you think about it,
No.
if you didn't do anything and these things started passing, it's still going to take a long time before they've got every single freaking gun.
Well, but I mean, I can tell you that I don't have kids, and I'm not exactly enthused about having them. But I would like everybody that comes after me who's just an American to know what it's like to be free, and I don't care if they're related to me or not. I mean, when I started on gun channels, I had wanted to talk about the Peruta case because I read every little thing about it, and of course, the Supreme Court wound up not picking up the appeal, which was tragic. But as Justice Gorsuch actually wrote, that it was tragic. But that's why I came on originally and started my YouTube channel and started doing a gun show on gun channels was because I wanted to talk about the Peruta case. I followed it every day. Most of my original shows were about the Peruta case, and I just talked about it. And when it finally came up, for appeal in Supreme Court, I know G-Webs was. Oh, here comes one of the flipping helicopters. I don't know if it's from the Iron Man or one of the police helicopters, but anyway, it was like. Finally, when it came up before the Supreme Court and we thought it might actually get taken up by SCOTUS, then G-Webs was all, yeah, you've been talking about this for years. And so now the Lock and Load show on Monday nights is kind of like a snowball that's been rolling downhill without the Peruta case. And I know that Flora Carey has potential of the Norton case that they want to have a Supreme Court appeal, and maybe they'll take it up and maybe they won't. SCOTUS hasn't shown any inclination to take up Second Amendment cases lately, ever since the Heller case. But so right now I'm just kind of having fun with the show, and I like to let Squib and Dusty express everything that they say, what their feelings are, because they're on gun channels and they know guns. And whether I agree with them, but I mean, whether or not I have kids has nothing to do with it. I'm an American, and I would like everybody else to have a chance to know the flip side of those two coins. One side is freedom, and the other side is responsibility. And that's what, when I talk to people in the UK, because they've never lived, they've been brainwashed that the government, the government will protect you. The problem is not enough government health care. The problem is they need more government, and people with guns are bad. No, people with guns are free. People with guns aren't bad. People with guns are free. And so that's why I came on gun channels originally. I don't know why I'm still on it. But I do the Lock and Load show every Monday. Obviously, there's no money in it anymore because Google, they demonetized the Marines. So I don't know. But I just do it because I like the people that I do the show with, and it gives them a platform. And if I could do anything to make one flippin' person more free, and they don't have to be related to me, that's okay. I'll die happier. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Now, I was 35 years old before I had my first daughter. And I was kind of just like you, Hawaii, before that happened. But after I had my first kid, my life totally changed. Years later, I had my second daughter. And now there's no way I would want to think of anything different than have my two girls. So I mean you because you've never had kids, but once you have kids, your total attitude towards life changes.
Oh yeah, now, when I wake up, if there's half and half for my coffee, I'm happy. That's all I need. If you have kids, it's different.
Well, no, what I'm trying to say is, in addition to being another thing for you to think about that wears you down every day, so that putting energy into fighting against gun control is not as easy if you have more things to think about. But it doesn't mean that you're less engaged in the pro 2A movement. If anything, you're more engaged, because for if you don't have kids to leave your stuff to, then you're only concerned with this stuff for as long as you're on this earth. I'm concerned for this stuff as long as my kids are on this earth. So even though I don't have the energy to deal with this problem, I get tired sometimes. It's because I have extra things on me, like kids and things like that wear me down.
We can't take our guns with us when we die? I had this conversation with my mother when I was in the hospital emergency room, and she's like, "Well, can I sell your guns? What do you want to do with your guns?" I was like, "Well, I'm not dead yet, but why? Yeah, like, why can't I take them with me?" So she said, "Steve, you've been a pretty good person your whole life. You're going to, if you're going to go to heaven, what do you need guns for?" I said, "Well, there might be a shooting range up there." And
I just mean that the same things that can take away your energy to fight for our cause, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, are the same reasons you would actually fight harder than somebody with more energy.
Yes, I want my kids to have all the same rights I've had. I'm not, and I know, I wish I had boys, and I know Squib has boys, and I still want my girl right that Squib's boys have.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I'll be happy if
my sons marry girls that aren't afraid of guns, or at least if they are, then they can show them that these are tools and you can use them for good or you can use them for evil, and that they are something that you can really enjoy.
Well, that's one of the problems we have, Squib. My daughter and your son is the same age, so we get together, right?
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Here we go. Here we go. Well, you are a State fan, so yeah.
I'm just joking. I had to lighten this up somehow.
It would suck. It would suck to have like one of them over for Thanksgiving dinner, right? And they bring their liberal wife, right? And she's there going, "Oh, you're one of them. You're one of those criminals." And what did Sean call it? Criminals in something like you just have these because you're planning to do something bad. And I'd be like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was, when I was at the retirement center, one of the old ladies was talking to me, and she was talking about all those crazy preppers, and I told her, look, I'm a prepper. And she said, "No, you're not one of those people who has like a lot of guns and stuff." And I was like, "Yes, I am. I have a lot of guns."
Like, you know what's funny? So I was thinking about all this legislation that I was looking up today, because this is all proposed legislation, and trying to find the history of it and trying to make sense of all these numbers and subsections and all this garbage, right? And I actually thought about writing my representative, even though he's a left-wing gun-hating douchebag. And I thought about what I would say to him. And I thought, I need to keep it short, and I need to put in something like, "Please don't send me your standard chain letter that you send me every time I write you." And I stopped at Bass Pro Shop on the way home. And I was there waiting at the gun counter, waiting my turn, and they were busier than hell. It's a Monday. It's a Monday at 5 o'clock, and they were busy. Almost every time I go in there, the gun counter is busy. And I mean, they do more than just guns. They do optics. They do reload supplies. They have some ammo back there. They'll do some gunsmithing for you a little bit. Like they'll mount your scope and bore sight it and things like that. They'll help you out with other stuff. I mean, they got most of the stuff out on the floor, but the counter, you have to take a number and wait your turn. On a Monday, it was busy. If Americans are so anti-gun, and there's so many people that are appalled by these mass murders that they want to turn in their guns or whatever,
that way.
Right? And that's just what. So I thought
the media sells you this shit. They're selling shit.
Well, why don't I write a short paragraph to this douchebag and just say, "Hey, if you ever want to know how you should be voting on gun control, go to Bass Pro Shop on a Monday at 5 o'clock and watch the gun counter for an hour, and then you'll change your mind." God bless America.
Now you know why I'm trying to scratch my itch.
Yeah. Well, there was a kid there. He was upset that they didn't have a 44 Henry like mine in stock, because he was getting all fidgety and getting upset and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, this doesn't help. This doesn't help us when you're there acting like you've got to have this gun and you've got to have this now. Well, it turned out he wanted a 44 Magnum Henry because he wanted to get it before deer season, before November 15th. I told him where he could go down. He could drive 20 minutes away and get one today, but he wanted to get that one at Bass Pro Shop. Okay, fine. Well, they said they'd have to order it for him, but he calmed down once they said they were able to order it for him. But then he was like, well, can you have it by November 15th? And I'm like, kid, you're going to have to cite it in. So I was telling him the issues I've been having with mine, because the sites just don't agree with me. It's not the gun, it's me. But I was also telling him how reliable it is and all this other stuff. There was a couple that came by and this guy had a wife and 2 babies with him. Okay. There was a couple that came by to look at the guns, and she was just happy about all the different colors they came in. That's why they sell them. Then a father came by with his daughter, and she was the same thing. He kept going, do you want this pink one? Do you want this blue one? She goes, no, I just want the regular black one. Right. Then another father came by with one son, and he looped around the department. They were looking at handguns, and they looped around the department, and he had another son over there walking up and down the aisle looking at it. He ended up, they were getting some hunting stuff. And there was another guy, he wanted a 45-70 lever action. And there was another guy picking up Smith & Wesson M&P AR. And then I was there about some accessories. And this is all in the time span of an hour. So these are all different kinds of people, and we're talking about different colors, different based on the way they were dressed, different payroll paychecks, right? And we were all there for, some of us were similar things, some of them were different things, all within the span of an hour.
I mean, gun control laws are so stupid that I wouldn't be surprised if Dianne Feinstein introduced a law banning black guns. And so everybody bought pink guns instead. The exact same kind, but just pink instead of black.
Well, that's the other thing too, though. Some of these laws, these manufacturers can work within the rules of said law by changing something. Like I said, this 1,000 rounds, you watch, they'll come up with a box of $9.90. You'll pay more for it than you paid for 1,000 because they had to pay all the cost of repackaging. So they can make the laws and we can work, but why should we have to?
Right.
The only fallback position is, let's say the stupid ass law passes and we have to fight it later on, right? In the meantime, the firearms industry will find a way to make up for it. It's just going to cost us more money. Or now you got to go to 5 stores to buy your ammo instead of 1.
Fight it. Once it's passed, it's done.
Well, no, because there are ways to repeal it later. It's a lot harder, but you're better to take care of it before it gets enacted. But this stuff can get repealed later. That's why I was saying, hey, give them bump stacks, but tell them to give us back suppressors or something like that. We'll trade. Put it on the Shush Act or Share Act or whatever, the Hush or the Share or something like that, and say you want bump stocks? Fine. Sign off on all these other things, and we'll give you a bump stock. And they'll be like, oh, okay.
Oh, no. But that's no different. What you're saying is no different than dealing with Rocket Man from Korea.
Well, no, because think of it like this, though. We've been wanting to get suppressors off the NFA for a long time, and we've been wanting to get rid of sporting use and change it to lawful use. So if we just said we'll do it like pork barrel politics, hey, here it is. We'll put bump stocks on the NFA, or we'll ban bump stocks, or whatnot. But you're going to sign for these other 2 things. Like I said, you're losing this little thing that nobody really cares about, and you're getting these 2 big things that everybody's been wanting for years. But if they won't do that, fine.
And you're going to pay.
Yeah, but you're getting back to things that we've been wanting. Think about what would happen if you got rid of you got rid of.
I don't think the Democrats are going to give us anything.
No, but I'm just saying, if you put it out there and they go, no, we don't want to do that, and be like, okay, we tried. Sorry. But the whole thing is, though, some of these laws, we don't want any of them to pass. But if some of them did pass, there are ways for the industry to compensate. Or you know what? You just go ahead and you buy 2,000 rounds, and they put your name on a damn list like they did when I picked up my 4 milsurps at the local FFL. I'm on a freaking list. They didn't come to my door. So... believe me, I don't think any of these laws affect all of us. Instead of, you know, just I don't know, just
The
being
only list that I'm not willing to be on is the Rat Pack list, and I don't mind if they put me on it and they pay for it, but I'm not paying them their $42 to be put on an illegal list. You know, I'm just not. If they want to pay for it, the government's broke.
I
mean,
think
situation that really is totally illegal in the United States.
Well, I mean, Night Strike brought up something good. He goes, why don't they enforce the Firearm Owner Protection Act that says you can drive through a state with a gun that's illegal in that state, but it's not illegal by federal law, and you're just traveling through? Why is? And I told him, I said, dude, I don't know why nobody has fought this and said, hey, you can't do this. I mean, you're supposed to be able to travel through California with an AR-15 and 30-round mags if you're driving to, I don't know, Oregon or something like that, you know, or whatever it is.
That's the way our law system works.
Right. And
you can fight like that. If you don't have the money, take it.
Right.
Did anybody you guys see this letter that I'm screen sharing right now?
let me have a look. I saw you post something in the chat, but let's see.
It's pretty much the ATF saying, "Stop blaming us. It's within the rules of law."
Nice.
Yeah, so the ATF
That is
Association consists of current and former employees of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and is supported by organizations, citizens, blah, blah. Recently, some have attempted to cast blame on the ATF for not banning devices like the bump slide in the Las Vegas shootings. We would like to clarify this confusing issue to protect honorable ATF employees from false allegations that they chose to make this item legal when it was the law that prohibited them from regulating the item. Anyways, pretty much if you just look at the bold stuff, it says right here to shoot, you know, what is a machine gun? You know, it's to shoot automatically more than one shot by single function of the trigger. You know,
it's not a machine gun. I mean, people they were just following the law.
So Jared,
but they needed to have somebody to blame. So
this is from their technical division, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it came from. It might say right here.
So my understanding is, just like the Supreme Court is only supposed to say, is this law constitutional? Is it not constitutional? They're not supposed to do anything else. Just yes or no. That's what the ATF is supposed to do. Is this within the existing law or isn't it? And I thought that was their technical division that has to review things to say, yep, no, like the Shockwave, right? Does the Shockwave, is that a short barrel shotgun or does it fit within the law? They reviewed it. Oh, it fits within the law. Okay, there you go.
What's the extra A on the ATF-A mean for? Do they have something else, or alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and anything else we can think of? Or
where's the A?
At the bottom of the letter. Yeah.
Oh, he Antifa. It's the president of Antifa.
It's pretty funny that they had to write this letter, though.
Well, all they're saying is they analyzed it. They analyzed the law.
ATF Association.
And it fit within the. Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's not the president of the ATF-A. It's the ATF Association. So this must be like a bunch of employees or something. All right.
Nice.
Oh, no. I thought that was kind of funny to read that. They were pissed off. Stop blaming us, you assholes. It's within the law. Leave us alone.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Don't blame us. It's not our fault.
I wanted to bring up the Girl Scouts, or no, the Boy Scouts, allowing girls into it. And I was never a Boy Scout. And I don't really care about all the other stuff, but let me just talk about this one quick thing.
It sure make those. As I was a Cub Scout, and having girls would have made the den meetings a lot more interesting, but nothing would have gotten done. Nobody would ever earn any merit badges.
The only two times I've ever seen the Boy Scouts was when I was at an Appleseed shoot. So whenever I did the Appleseeds, the Boy Scouts were there too. So the only reason I would like that is if now you have girls going to learn how to shoot, you know, bolt action 22s. And I would like that. Because I doubt the Girl Scouts shoot.
Well, I think that I remember being a Cub Scout, and my memory was that it was just about parents and their kids being together and doing stuff together and working on the different merit badges and stuff like that. It wasn't about whether girls were in it. It was about parents and their kids.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it. But
I have two girls. My oldest is 16 years old. She was in Girl Scouts. In her 16 years, did they ever have any shooting sports? My youngest daughter, she ended up quitting Girl Scouts, but she's like 13, and I know she's never had any access to shooting sports.
well, you don't have to be in the Scouts to get access to shooting sports. I mean, if there's a lot of stuff you can learn in the Scouts that have not that is very useful that has nothing to do with shooting. So.
Right, but that's what the whole issue is. I mean, this is another, say, weekly news topic that we're hitting on right now, and that was one of them, is how big Girl Scouts versus Boy Scouts. And what was it, Jared? You brought it up, so you probably know the details, but wasn't there a girl that wanted to go to Boy Scouts just because Girl Scouts did not offer the shooting sports?
I actually I skimmed an article real quick, and I don't remember if that was it, but I mean, like, my thing is, I understand people might get mad if, like, they're gonna, make it terrible and kid gloves everything, but I don't know. I would think that, I would hope that it would just bring more girls into, not even just shooting sports, but into, like, land navigation, camping, so.
Doesn't the Girl Scouts do that too?
No, they sell cookies.
Is that it? Really?
And they're very good. I like Girl Scout cookies.
I know, but do they actually do any scouting kind of things?
That's been my experience with my two girls.
I think they camp, but look,
I do like their cookies though.
if she said, I want to go to the Boy Scouts because I want to shoot and you guys don't let us shoot, that's one thing. If she said, I want to go to the Boy Scouts because I identify as a boy, then they're just going to get rid of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and altogether just call it the Scouts. And, so it just depends on what angle you're looking at. But I don't see a problem with the girls shooting. Girls can shoot too. Hell, some of them can outshoot us. So.
All right, well, let's try and avoid figuring out who should use which bathroom and all
the time.
I think it's getting around time.
Don't even go there.
Get to the chopper. It's time to get to the chopper. Any final thoughts before we get to the chopper?
I don't know. I used that today at work, actually, and one of the guys actually got it. So.
We don't want to end this show. If you end the show, I got to go in and talk to my wife.
Well, I can't keep the show going forever just so you don't have to talk to your wife.
Why don't you go in there and just talk to her about guns? She'd be like, okay, I've had enough. You can go now.
Okay. Jared, did you have anything on what the actual show topic was? What did you think about thinking that Tell That to the Marines and a photo of the Marines got demonetized and taken down by Google?
I have no idea anything about the story. Can you bring me up to speed?
Well, basically in 2013, I put up a video of music of a patriotic song written in 1919, recorded in 1919, called "Tell That to the Marines," and I made a little video montage of a few Marine recruiting posters and a few pictures of the Marines on Iwo Jima, and somehow they decided that was unfit and unfriendly for advertisers. So that's what the first topic of the show was about. So, and I'll just screen share this picture for you one more time. Here's the thumbnail for the. If I can find it. Oh, I can't find it. Let me look at this really quick. Oh, here it is. Let's see. I can screen share it now. I clicked on it once. So right here's the thumbnail. Right? So it's a bunch of guys with guns and the American flag. Of course, it's the Marines on Iwo Jima, but why would they say that this is unfit for advertising, advertiser unfriendly, and all that stuff?
Well, somebody brought it up. I think it might have been G-Webs or I don't know, somebody that brought up the fact. Maybe it was even you guys last week. I don't remember. Everything's kind of blurred together, but they were saying, no, it was Yankee, I think. What they're doing is they're demonetizing it, and they're waiting a week, and then if you challenge it, they'll remonetize the video. So what they're kind of doing is they're kind of like making it so you don't get any money off it anyways, even if you.
But this has been up since 2013. Well, I guess I could go with. Yeah.
I mean, they're grabbing anything they can. I mean, I think we need to, at some point, we need to leave. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I'm subbed to, I don't know, hundreds of different gun channels. And I have some kid-friendly channels because my kids use my YouTube account. And what's really funny is when I go to my suggestive, when you first open up the thing on the TV, it never shows any gun videos.
Yeah, you have the restricted mode. In restricted mode, you can't see like 90% of my videos.
It's not in restricted. But the suggestive only comes up. I realized that, and I did it on the computer too. That I hundreds of gun channels. The only thing that shows up is kid stuff like Funnel Vision and FGTV and some other videos. Evan Tube Gamer. I was like, wait a minute, why does no gun content show up when I have over 3,000 liked videos, I think. So
yeah, but is this photograph gun content or is this just American Marines? I mean, this isn't gun content. This was tell that to the Marines.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's part of their thing. They might think Japanese because remember it's a worldwide company thing, so they might think, oh, Japanese people might be hurt by this image, and it might make them feel unhappy and get triggered. So we got to take it down because we got to make everybody happy. Isn't that their whole reason for demonetizing gun content? Is it's illegal in South Korea, so they have to put it into the restricted mode so that way it meets with their laws or some crap.
I don't know what's legal or illegal in South Korea.
Yeah, but that's the way they do it, though. They're like, oh,
I hear they have a lot of nice hostess bars that are legal, or nobody cares if what they do is illegal. But I heard that from our mayor, and now I don't mind that they demonetized that video of mine with the racy video of what the mayor's Korean hostess may have looked like, but I'm not monetizing. I'm not monetizing this video at all. So. If anybody wants to make a donation, the Bitcoin address is in the video description. Okay, we got to get to the chopper, and we will see you all next week on the next mission.
Thank you.
Lock and load. Yeah. Time for the after chat.